Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to your essay writing and presentation skills class. We are back again with our lecture number 8 on descriptive essay. In the previous lecture, we have thoroughly discussed the different types of essays, which were so common that everyone knows of them. We first of all talked about the descriptive essay, in which the one that we are going to discuss in detail today. Then we also discussed the definition essay, which calls for the definition of something, or which introduces the definition of something to the audience. Then we also discussed the compare and contrast essay, in which you do the comparison, that the finding out the differences between something, and then you do the contrast, the finding out the similarities and the differences between two things simultaneously. Then we also talked about the cause and effect essay, in which we discussed that how something happened, and we also try to find out its effects, that what happened afterwards. Then we also discussed the narrative essay, which is a kind of a storytelling, telling a story. So we also discussed that in our previous lecture as well. Then we also discussed the argumentative essay, that is also known as your persuasive essay. We also discussed the critical essay, evaluation essay, analysis essay, reflective essay, and expository essay, which are some kind of exposing something, related to exposing something, critically evaluating something, then presenting your examination and description of and analyzing something, and presenting your reflection on something. That one we are going to discuss one by one in every lecture, every upcoming lecture. Since from today I will give you your assignments to do and your quizzes to do. So you are supposed to do that once we are going to keep moving with that, right? Now today we are going to talk about the descriptive essay. We have done it so many times before, and again we are going to do it. We keep on repeating things because I want to make sure that you understand each of them in detail and clearly. So to begin with, let's describe that what descriptive essay is. Descriptive essay basically provides details about how something looks, feels, tastes, smells, and makes one feel or sounds. So a descriptive essay is the clear indication of, or the description of, that how something looks. Like, for example, if you are talking about any place, let's say any personality, anything, so you can, or you are possible, or you are able to do that in a very nice way. It can also describe what something is and how something happened. So you are actually describing something in terms of how and why something happened, what something is and how something happened, and you are also trying to describe the process of something. The essay generally use a lot of sensory details, as I said in the previous lectures as well, that the descriptive essay is something that calls for all your senses. All your imagination is a lot involved in it. Once you are describing any personality, you try to look from every angle, and you try to see that personality from every aspect. So from starting from the physical appearance, how they look, the way they walk, the way they eat, the way they talk, and the kind of the personality they are, the kind of the interests they have, the kind of the behavior they have with different people, and so on and so forth. So this is how you describe your favorite personality, or any personality that you are targeted to explain. Then in the same way, you try to explain a place. Maybe you try to explain any monument, or you try to explain any shopping place, or you try to explain the location of, or how some house looks like, or how some building looks like. So this is how you are going to describe them, and you are going to define them. Then there are some common examples of, as we have already discussed, and some more examples that we are going to see in today's lecture. We are going to thoroughly see that how descriptive essays are, and how things can be described in different ways. So this is how we will be able to see that how to write one descriptive essay on your own. And now pick up your pens and your copies, because that's time to actually start practicing essay writing. I want all of you to become very good essay writers, because I am putting in all my efficiency and courage and all my knowledge to make sure that you learn everything that I have with me So that the way I write, if there are any loopholes, I can find out while I am reading your paper, and you can find out while writing your peers and my paper that what are the loopholes in your writing, because always reading others' writing is the possible way that is going to help you improve your own writing skills. So as I said, that writing is a productive process. You are going to produce as much information as you can. So maybe you can just quickly grab a cup of tea before I quickly move on to the next slide, and refresh your mind for writing the descriptive essay. Now in today's lecture we are going to see that how to write one, as well as we are also going to check out that how to write with different techniques, and we are also going to see some common mistakes that we usually use or we usually make while writing a descriptive essay, and we are definitely going to overcome them, and we are going to avoid them to become a good essay writer. Then there are some do's and don'ts that we are going to see while we will move on to our actual practice session of our descriptive essay. So how to write one? I hope you have grabbed your cup of tea now. So take a sip and listen to me carefully. So a descriptive essay is a form of academic writing. Now remember, that's kind of a formal writing that is built around a detailed description of a person. Maybe that can be about a person, maybe any favorite personality that you have, that is going to talk about the personality traits, starting from his physical appearance to his character, and then his eyes, nose, lips, ears, his hair, and then, you know, the way he walks, the way he talks, how he behaves with his parents, his family, and how he behaves with society. And let's take example of Quaid-e-Azam, that how was his behavior towards his family, and how was his behavior towards his relatives, and then the nation, and what was his aim in life, and how did he do that. Did he have any kind of, you know, medical illness or something? So this is how we are going to see every aspect of his life, starting from the day he was born till the day he died. So this is how you wrap up the whole description of a person in one essay. Then maybe you are describing a building, any building, maybe let's talk about, or let's take an example of Centaurus that is under construction in Islamabad. So let's try to, you know, see that, let's try to describe it, that how and when this project started, and what is this project all about, and how does the building look like now, and how it will look like in near future, and what will be the shopping malls like, what will be the residential like, and so on and so forth. So this is how we are going to discuss the different places. Maybe you are going to also describe the situation, maybe a car accident, maybe a situation like your visit to your son's school, or maybe a very happy birthday, a visit to happy birthday of your niece, maybe. So this is how you are going to, you know, describe the each and every movement of why do you want to describe that in your own words. The main purpose of descriptive essay is to describe something in a vivid and particular manner. So this vividness, or this, you know, vast sensory details or vast sensations being involved in your imagination and then on the piece of paper, is going to be the best description of why do you want to explain that person, that place, or that very thing, so that the reader can easily picture the described object, person, or state in their mind. So that just like a painting, like we have practiced, and we had some practice sessions in our previous lectures, that how to convert the thoughts being presented in the painting on the piece of paper. And maybe your next assignment is going to be on the same topic. So what you are supposed to do is to, you know, present each and everything that you see on the piece of paper, so that the reader is going to get every single information about that thing which was there that you saw. So to make sure, for example, there are games like see and saw. So there is something that you see, and then you become saw. So you have seen that and you want to tell that thing to the other. So how you are going to tell that thing to the other in your own words? So the best imagination or the best imaginary words that you can use to describe something is going to be the best art of writing the descriptive essay. So this is how, and that is why we are sitting here. I'm going to tell you to write down on so and so topic along with a guideline that I will tell you, and you are supposed to stick to all the rules that I'm going to tell you that how to write a descriptive essay. Now there are some steps that we are supposed to follow while writing a descriptive essay. Your step number 1 says that choose a subject on which you want to write and decide what or who you will describe. So the first thing, your step number 1 would be your selection of the topic. So you are going to decide that what you want to write on. What would be the possible thing or place or person that you can describe in your own words? You start from the scratch and then you reach the peak to make sure that each and every detail of that person is being described. That's, in other words, that's a kind of a dissection of something, that you try to dissect it from each and every part to see that what is there and what is inside. So you are going to provide the minute details of everything. Don't go into the sometimes a common mistake is being made that we go into the irrelevant details instead of focusing on the very important ones. So this is something that sometimes divert the attention of your reader. So you are going to avoid that, and first step that you are supposed to make is to select for the relevant topic that you can think that you can describe. Now describing or selecting a topic is something that is very difficult sometimes. So you are going to make sure that a topic that you can describe well, that you can think you are capable enough of and you can describe in an easy way, you are going to do that. Then your step number 2 is that do an outline or a sketch listing the facts, characteristics you will develop throughout your essay. Now your step number 2 would be that once you have selected a topic for your essay, your second step would be that you are going to make an outline for that. Now how to do that, you know that better. We have already discussed it in our lecture number 6, that how you make an outline for the essay. Now this pre-writing technique of writing an outline, maybe if you are taking the topic outline or you are using the sentence outline, both of them, they are going to help you develop a good outline for your descriptive essay. Based on that outline, or maybe to make that outline, your third step would be that you would gather information for the introductory paragraph. If necessary, in case you choose to write about a certain holiday, historical event, building, place or well-known figure. So for example, you decide to write about Allama Iqbal, that is your favorite personality, or maybe you decide to write about anything that is maybe you wanted you have decided to write about the wonders in the world out of the 7, and you want to write them down on and you want to describe that into your essay. So your practice would be that you would gather some information from the relevant sources that are available, and you would try to define or describe that very thing in the way that has been described in the possible source. So the thumb rule is the step number 1, first of all, pick up the topic. Second thing that you are supposed to do is to make an outline. All your imagination, all your ideas should come on that very outline. If you have chosen something that is already available, any famous personality, any famous building or any historical event, you should read about that and gather as much information as you can on your pre-writing page. Make sure that you are not going to put every information that you are going to gather from internet, from any book, from any source as it is. If you are going to do that, make sure that you are going to use the MLA Harvard system. Then during your step number 3, you are going to gather as much information as you can and try to make sure that the information you are gathering from internet and the library resources should be written in MLA or APA styles, or maybe the Harvard system, because if you are going to break the laws of plagiarism, that is going to be problematic for you. So I hope that you are good kids and you are not going to copy someone else's work to make that your own work. You are going to work hard on writing the essay, and we are sure that you will write one today. Now your step number 4 for writing the essay, after you have selected your topic, made an outline and gathered the information from the different sources if that was required, then you will decide upon the main idea for each of your paragraphs. Now your outline calls for the heading for every paragraph that is to be placed, that is to be selected for your essay. That is the main body section. So we are not going to touch on the introduction and conclusion yet. We are working on the main body parts, where there would be a lot of ideas related to your main subject. Maybe you have selected a personality and first of all you want to talk about their physical appearance, then you want to talk about their behavior, then you want to talk about their ambitions, and so on and so forth. So you would have different paragraphs for each category. So this is how you are going to define, and this is how you are going to take step 4 for writing your descriptive essay. Your step 5 will lead you to the introductory sentence. Now for writing each paragraph, as we have discussed earlier in our paragraph writing skills, that each paragraph contains 3 parts. The first one is your introductory sentence that introduces the main idea of the whole paragraph. Then your second part are your supporting details, where your main idea, your introduction, is being supported with a lot of examples, maybe factual evidences, or the information that is relevant. Then your third part is your closing sentence, which sums up the whole information of the supporting details and your topic sentence in one line. So this is how you are going to decide that write each of the paragraphs in the format of writing a paragraph. So once you are done with that, your step number 6 would be that write the introduction and conclusion. Once you have described the main body and once you have written down the main body based on all the topics that you have selected for your essay, you are going to start writing your introduction and your conclusion. That would be the same way you enter any exhibition and then you have an exit from that exhibition. So this is how you are going to do that. Your 7th step would be that you are going to do the proper proofreading for your material that you have chosen for your essay. Now that proofreading has to do with anything to do with your first thing, that is your pre-writing. Your proofreading is something that you would do yourself maybe, or prefer asking someone to proofread your material. Maybe you ask your friends, or maybe you ask your supervisor to do that for you. The good idea of proofreading is to take a nap maybe, or take some break. Maybe you can go out, have fun with your friends, and again you come out to your working desk and try to pick up the paper and see that what have you written and how are you going to analyze that. This is the best possible way of proofreading your material. So we have so far discussed the 7 steps. The first thing that you will do, you will thoroughly explain the topic that you have. First of all, after the selection of the topic, you are going to thoroughly explain that into your outline. That is by using the pre-writing technique. The second thing that you are going to do is to write down the headings for the paragraph. Gather as much information for the material as you can by surfing on internet, maybe going to the library if you don't know anything about the topic, if that has something to do with any personality, any place, or something like that. Then your next step would be writing down or explaining the paragraphs. Then you would write the introduction and your conclusion, and in the end you would proofread your material to get better results. Now let's quickly discuss your topic selection, that how to actually select a topic for your descriptive essay. Now there are various kinds of descriptive essay that you have read of others, maybe on internet, maybe in the books, maybe of your friends, maybe any other topics, any other essays that you have came across. Now the 3 most common ones are those that focus around describing people, describing places, and describing buildings. So the most Common ones are focused on describing people, places, and buildings. Sometimes they also describe different objects, but that doesn't have got that margin of describing an object rather than, you know, describing a place, any person, or any building. Now there is a list of topics. Your assignment is to pick up one after we are done with our descriptive essay. You're supposed to pick up one for your for writing an essay. You are supposed to make an assignment on any one of them based on the whole outline that I am telling you to write a descriptive essay. So here are some examples of writing good topics for each category. So what you are supposed to do is to pick up one and write down one descriptive essay. That is going to be your first assignment of this semester. So topics are: a person I will never forget, a place I have always wanted to go. So what your target would be, you know, to describe them. The describe, maybe a person I will never forget, you will describe that person and the reasons that why you will related to whatsoever personality traits they had, so why you won't forget them. A place I have always wanted to go. Now you are supposed to keep in mind, and you are always supposed to keep in mind, that you are going to stick to your topic. Do not beat about the bush, or, you know, go into the unnecessary details that can, you know, sometimes drag your attention from the main topic. So you are going to stick to them. A person I admire, the house of my dreams, a visit to a theatre, museum, modern art gallery, whatsoever you have visited, my Remembrance Day celebration in London, my best friend, or family trip to Europe, my ideal wedding, a person who changed my life, Venus, the city of eternal romance. Now you don't know about Venus, so you can also study some literature and gather information. My favorite fiction or writer or poet. So these are some, this is the list of topics from which you are supposed to select one, and you are supposed to submit one assignment by the end of, the time, once I will guide you how to write one descriptive essay. Now stick to all the rules and all the things that I am telling you to how to write the descriptive essay, because they are going to help you understand and see that how you are going to do one. Now there are some key points to consider before you are going to, or once you are going to write your descriptive essay. A descriptive essay, as with any other successfully written piece, needs to have a clear, well-balanced structure. Now that well-balanced structure has something to do with your proper introduction, your main body, and then your conclusion. So this is how you are going to see that like every other essay, a descriptive essay also has a clear, well-balanced structure. Normally you should start with an introduction of the object, person, or place you plan to describe. So you first of all introduce them, that what it is and how it looks, and why are you going to describe them. While introducing, you should specify your relation to the person, the location of the place, the purpose of the object, or anything like that. So in the in introduction, you are going to make sure the first, while introducing them, you are going to specify your relation and why you are writing about them. For example, your visit to a museum, or maybe your best friend, or Venus, the city of romance. Whatsoever topic you are going to choose, you are going to make sure that in the introduction you are going to specify your relation. Maybe you had been to Venus once, and maybe alright, my best friend is always your best friend, so you are going to specify that. So this is how you are going to tell your relationship or your association with the place or thing or the person that you are going to describe. Then the next key point is, in the main body, you should focus on the specific qualities of the chosen subject. Now in the main body, you would talk about the different specific qualities of the chosen subject and go into details of each of the most unusual qualities in the following paragraph. Now you would talk about their specific qualities, moving on to their unusual qualities in every next paragraph that you are writing. So starting from the general and then moving to the specific, and then again going into the qualities and the unusual behavior of that person. For instance, if you choose to write about a person, let's say your favorite personality, you could include a paragraph about their appearance, another one about their personality traits and justification, and the third paragraph of the main body can be about the person's hobbies, talents and interests. So this is how your progression of ideas would go on. As we said that essay is something that is logically that has coherence and cohesion, so your essay should be well connected as to make sure that each information is well connected to the next one. Now another point to remember is about the conclusion. Now that we have already discussed your introduction, in which you are going to introduce the person and also tell about the your relationship to that very thing or the person or the place. In the second paragraph in your main body, you are going to clearly define the traits of that thing, or the you are going to provide the specific information about that very thing. In your conclusion paragraph, that should focus on your personal feelings about the chosen subject, so that is going to be somewhat personal, justifying why it had such an influence on you that you decide to write about. So in your conclusion, you will clearly tell that this was my association, or you are going to clearly mention or talk about your personal feelings about that thing, and you are going to tell that how and what kind of influence that thing had on you, and why you were driven to write about that choose that topic for writing, and you wrote about that very thing. So this is how you are going to supposed to keep all these 3 points in mind of introduction, of maintaining the main body and the conclusion in your mind while you are writing a descriptive essay. Now let's move on to the next ones. A descriptive essay focuses on details, so make sure to be specific in your descriptions. So you are going to specify all the details clearly. Include as many colorful adjectives as you can is always good idea. Once you are describing things, so adjectives, the use of adjectives, the colorful adjectives, the ones which are going to give colors to your essay is going to be a good idea. Now that doesn't mean that your essay will become colorful, or you are going to write your adjectives with colors. That doesn't mean that. It means that the elaboration of your verbs along with the adjectives should be in a way that the verb itself looks good once it's combined with an adjective. Another tip is to introduce some unusual facts, situations and words that you associate with person, place or object you are describing. So try to use some unusual facts and descriptions about the person, place or thing that you are describing. That's going to make that very person, place or thing different from others. The more innovative and unique you get, the better. So the more innovative and the more good and unique you are in writing your essay, the better that would be, because in this possible way only your essay would look different, you would look different, and your writing style would automatically look different. So there were some key points to remember other than writing the introduction, the main points and then the conclusion, that you are supposed to stick to the specific details. Then try to also add in some unusual details that differentiate your person, your personality, your thing or your place from other persons, other things and other other places. Then also use the colorful adjectives, the use of those adjectives that make your verbs special. Then this is all about writing a unique piece of paper, so you are going to involve all your sensory details and all your imagination as much as you can. So the best tip for this is that jot as much information down on your outline page, because your outline is going to give you a best skeleton for whatsoever you are going to produce in your final draft. Now there are also some key points to remember also. Now when going into the details of your description, group similar and opposing qualities together to make your writing sound more versatile. Now similarities and the differences should be given together as to make your writing different from others and versatile, look different. For similar qualities, use also, as well as in addition to, in connection to, and other so many words and phrases that you can use. For opposite qualities, use at the same time, in spite of this, nevertheless, although, and however. Like these are those conjunctions which can be used to tie up your similarities and opposing ideas together in one essay. So that was all about the key points that are supposed to be kept in mind while writing the descriptive essay. Now there are some do's and some don'ts that you are supposed to do while writing an essay. So we will begin with some do's and then we will move on to some don'ts, and you are going to stick to me and you are going to listen carefully, because we are here to see that how you can make your descriptive essay look better. To begin with, we will first talk about do's. So the first thing that you are supposed to remember is, the first do that you are supposed to do is that do use a variety of connective words. Now these connective words will help you connect your logical thoughts together in one paragraph, and then from one paragraph progression to the next paragraph, and then so on and so forth. So your ideas will be connected. These variety of connective words, like as we have described in the previous slide as well, that these kind of words which are going to highlight the similarities as well as they are going to highlight the opposing differences is going to be the best practice while you are writing a descriptive essay. So your descriptions would look more logical and connective. Your ideas would be well connected. Do use comparisons to make your descriptions more vivid and brighter. So your description will become bright if you are going to put in, or if you are going to insert in some kind of comparisons. For example, when describing an object, say what its shapes reminds of you. So for example, if you are talking about the long channel or maybe a long path, what reminds that you of? Think. See, so this is how you are going to see that if you have chosen any topic for your essay writing, for your descriptive essay, you are going to compare that very thing, your thing, with the things that, the possible things that they resemble with. So you are going to insert all those comparisons here. When talking about a person, compare their characteristics with that of an animal. Maybe you tell that the character of so-and-so, the so-and-so character in Shakespeare's novel was so pretty that she resembles a moon. So this is how like an animal, flower, or whatever you associate the personal quality with. So this is how you are going to see that how, while associating the attributes of the personifications of for the human beings, like using the names of the animals, or maybe you associate their qualities with that of the flowers, and so on and so forth. So this is how you can, best compare and best describe your things or places and people. Now the next thing that you are supposed to do is do use your emotions and analyze that how you feel about the described person, place, or object. So now you are going to personally, on the personal level, you are going to describe your emotions about something, about some person, about some place, and about some object. Do not be afraid to include your subjective opinion. Now that is wholly solely your personal opinion that you are going to add in your essay. So you are not going to get afraid with that, because that essay is your property, and that was all based on whatsoever you think about that place, that person, or that object. Now be creative in your descriptions. You were already very creative, and the do that you are supposed to do is to be creative in your descriptions. Now Another thing that you are supposed to do is that do not be afraid to approach your description from an innovative angle. Now that you are creative, yet you are innovative, so you are going to provide those details as well which you think that others cannot, and they are provided in such a way that you have used such words which are understandable by the common group of people, but yet they are so attractive that people want to read it again and again. Do use a variety of techniques to express your thoughts. Now you are using the variety of techniques to express your thoughts, express your emotions, express your feelings about that very thing, person or place, because you can, only in this way you can make your piece of writing look different, feel different, think different, and is going to be different from all the rest of the other pieces of writing. So use as many colors in your descriptive essay as you can. Do use your innovative techniques, do use the vivid and brighter images, also use the best possible strokes of words that are coming out of your hand and put them on the piece of paper as to make a best possible essay. So in this way only you can, can write a very good essay. So there were some do's that you are supposed to do. Along with that, there are some don'ts that you are not supposed to do while writing a descriptive essay. Remember, we are talking about the descriptive essay, and all the do's that you are supposed to do you are supposed to keep in mind, and all the don'ts that you are not supposed to do, just forget about them and stick to the rules, stick to all the processes that we are supposed to do. And essay writing is not a very hard job to do. All you need to do is to get a structure for that, and then get that structure filled with colors, vivid images, bright adjectives, and everything. Now the first don't that you are not supposed to do is don't begin all your sentences in a similar way. Like you are not going to make the one sequence of the sentences, or you are not going to begin all the sentences in the same way, because that is going to make your writing monotonous and boring and something alike. So sometimes reader will get bored while reading your paper. They will say that this writer defines each and everything in the same way. Now there are some novel writers who write their novels, each one of their novel is written in the same way. So once you pick up their novel, or you are you get a hold of any extract from somewhere which does not carry their name, if you read that, you would automatically understand that this extract has been taken from so and so novel of so and so person. So don't be that type. You are going to be different, look different, feel different, and write different. So this is what our target is, that you are going to not be like other people, you are going to look different, and this is how this is the only possible way how your writing can look different from others. Now don't write too generally. Go underneath the surface in your descriptions to make your essay sound more realistic. Now this is the only possible way that you are going to go dig down the earth, explore what is in there. Now on the general level, if you are talking about any personality, that he was very good, his behavior with everyone was very good, he went to school in this year, and so on and so forth, these kind of the general details which everyone talks about, you are not going to write them. You are going to be different, and you are going to add those underneath or the under surface details of that very thing in your essay, as to make your essay different, look different from the others. Don't switch from present tense to the past and then back. Stick, if you are writing in the present tense, stick to that. If you are writing in the past tense, stick to that. You are not going to jumble up, or this switching or this swapping of two sentences in one essay is not allowed. So you are not going to do that, okay? If you choose to describe an event that occurred in the past, your visit to some place, a person you used to be close with, etc., then only write in the past tense throughout the essay. You are not going to add any present tense in your essay. If your purpose is to write about something that has happened in the past, so you would talk about that thing in the past tense. Similarly, if you choose to describe everything in the present or future form, be consistent throughout. So I hope that you have absorbed this. Try to digest that. If you are writing about something that has happened in the past, you are going to be stick to the past tense throughout your essay. If you are talking about the future, stick to future tense continuously and be consistent in that. And if you are writing about the present tense, any present event, any present place, so try to stick to the present tense throughout your essay. But you are not going to switch up present with future or future with present or present with past or past with future and so on and so forth. So you are good people, and I hope you are following my directions. Don't write about everything you can think of. Now, while writing an essay, you can think of 100 ideas that come in your mind. But the thing that you are supposed to keep in mind is that you are not going to write about everything that you can think of. Whether it is a person or building that you choose to describe, think of the most peculiar and interesting characteristics. Now, you are supposed to keep in mind that you are going to take out those interesting things from the person, the place, or the thing that is going to make that very thing look different from others, that distinguish and highlights this particular person, or distinguish that very person from other places, that place from other places, that thing from other things, or that person from the other person. So that was another thing that you are supposed to do, that you are not going to write everything that you know of that person, only those things which you think that this thing distinguishes or make that very person special from other people. Don't focus on what is generally known, believed, or considered about the subject. So the general perceptions about something, some person, or some place are not acceptable. You are not going to talk about them in your essay. Write about your personal point of view, write about your personal opinion. Do not stick to what people have to say. Stick to what you have to think. So this is the thumb rule. You are going to think about what you have to think. You are not going to listen to the different people. Write about things that matter to you personally. So the things that you like about that person, that thing, that place, you are going to write about them. You are not going to write about those things which other people think about that person, which other people think about that place, or which other people think about that thing. So your personal thought in descriptive essay is very important. You are going to write about your personal experiences, your personal opinion about that thing, and your personal description of something. So only in this possible way you can create your own descriptive essay. Now, there are some common mistakes that everyone makes. Absence of the main idea. The first thing is that the main idea is present. Now, you know a lot about that thing, that person, or that place, and you keep on writing, but your main idea is being lost. And how? Your essay should focus around one main idea that needs to be transparent. Now, if you wanted to talk about the personality as a whole about something, you are going to stick to that. If you want to talk about the specifications or the qualities of something, your focus should be that. So main idea should remain there. Students often forget about this rule and get lost in separate striking descriptions. Now, the thing or the problem with writing descriptive essay is that the students, they usually confuse description with unnecessary striking descriptions. Now, sometimes if you are asked to write about your best friend, you would talk about your best friend and his family, and then again your best friend's family, father and their relatives, and so on and so forth. Now, you were to talk about your best friend, not his family. Now, your target or your main objective was being lost. So what you are supposed to keep in mind is that you are supposed to describe everything, but that should be related to your best friend. So this is how you make your essay clear, and you present the main idea in different ways, which make the whole essay sound abrupt and inconsistent. So these kind of common mistakes, if you lose that very vigor of the main idea, that will make your essay inconsistent and your ideas will look abrupt. The next point of or the next common mistake that we make while writing the descriptive essay, that use of too many ordinary and petty adjectives. Now you go into the so much mind. If I ask you to write about let's say the table, you go into the four legs of the table and then the wood being used in the table and so much petty details that the main purpose of using the table is being lost. So this is how your writing would, everyone would do that, and everyone would be using that this is a very good table, this is a very smart table, you can even sit on this table and stuff like that. This is going to make your essay look monotonous, and maybe majority of people are writing like this, and this is going to be look like a mediocre essay. So you are going to make your essay special, and you are going to avoid these kind of details in your descriptive essay. Now, instead of using the ordinary and petty adjective, try to describe the object or person from the personal perspective. So the basic thing that you are supposed to keep in mind while writing the descriptive essay is that you are going to look at that person, or you are going to describe that object or that person from personal point of view, using your emotions and your feelings, which are more important while you are writing the descriptive essay, because descriptive essay calls for your sensations and your sensory details about that very thing, about that person, about that object. Clear? So these are the common mistakes that we make. The next one is applying an out-and-out approach when you include negative adjectives in your description. Now you are bringing out all the information that you have within, because you are not you are critically describing it, you are describing the positive aspects as well as you are describing the negative aspects, so you are going to stick to that. Try to use mild language in such cases. For example, you can replace John is arrogant with John can sometimes be rather arrogant. So you are going to be mild, and you are going to use the out and out approach in your essays. So that there were some these were some common mistakes that we use while writing descriptive essay that you are going to avoid. So far we have discussed different steps of writing the descriptive essay. Then we have also seen some of the topics that you can select for your first assignment. And then we have also talked about some do's and don'ts that we are supposed to do while writing your essay, and you are not supposed to do while writing your descriptive essay. And we have also talked about some common mistakes that we can make, and we are yet to avoid them while writing the descriptive essay. Now, before you actually start working on your assignment number 1, here is an example of a descriptive essay, a format on which you can write your descriptive essay on. I brought one example, and you are supposed to make your essay look different. The way this essay looks different. This is the description of the restaurant. Now we will see that what kind of the vivid images or what kind of the bright adjectives and the colorful words the writer uses to describe this restaurant, and helps the reader make it look different from the other restaurants. Now let's move on to the next slide. Now let's read all the paragraphs one by one, that how the writer actually describes his favorite restaurant in this descriptive essay. Now remember that in your essay writing there are no paragraphs, there are no headings. I have written these headings for your convenience. As you can see very well on the top of the slide, there is a heading of introduction paragraph. You are not supposed to insert headings in your essays, because essays is a kind of an longer description, and you are not to put headings and then subheadings of everything. This is for your convenience that I have written on the slide, but make sure that you are not going to do one. Now this is the description of the person's favorite restaurant. Now let's see how he introduces that very restaurant in his introductory paragraph. Let's read all the lines one by one and let's try to understand them, and let's try to catch all the vivid images that we find. As a child, I wasn't fond of eating out. My family would eat out at least once a week, often more than once, and every time we went anywhere but for a little place called Rivini, it was a challenge for my parents. Now see this adjective, little place, that the writer has used. Rivini was that lucky exception. Now see the description of the place, that he is making that place look different from the others. I loved the place and this made my parents love it too. Now there is some special association of the writer with the place that he is trying to tell through words. Now let's try to read the whole 4 lines again in one go, and let's see that how beautifully the writer explains them or describes them. As a child, I wasn't fond of eating out. My family would eat out at least once a week, often more than once, and every time we went anywhere but for a little place called Rivini's, it was a challenge for my parents. Rivini was that lucky exception. I loved the place and this made my parents love it too. The place seemed so magical and fascinating to me then. Now, the words magical and fascinating, when I was still an elementary school kid, and surprisingly, the place still very much fascinates me today. So see the description of that, how during his childhood, when he was elementary school kid, that place looked to him or seemed to him magical and fascinating, and still that place was fascinating. Now see the repetition of the words that he is using and how smartly he is using to make other people understand it too. Just recently, when I visited my old family house for Thanksgiving, I was surprised and pleased. Now see 2 words, surprised as well as pleased, to find out the place still operated and in fact was still run by the same family. Apart from the house in which I grew up, Rivini is probably the dearest place to me in the little town. Now see the description of the little town just outside of San Ramon, where I was born and raised. What is so special about the place? What it is? Well, it is hard to answer this question in just few words. Now see, the writer has written it in such a beautiful way, this last line, that well, it is hard to answer this question in just a few words, because a lot of description is required to explain that place, that small restaurant, that magical or fascinating place, that a little place with which he was always fascinated and he has always loved, and that made his parents love that place too, because for parents, their kids are special, and whatsoever their kids like, the parents start liking that thing too. So this is how he has introduced that place in his first paragraph. That was his introduction paragraph, and see how smartly he convinces and grabs the attention of the reader to make them learn more about what he has to say in the next paragraph, by telling that how that place looks to him was difficult for him to explain in a few words. So that would require a lot of words to explain that place, and this is what he is going to do now. Now he is providing supporting details. Number 1 supporting details, that is the first paragraph of the supporting details. First of all, now see that he has started his paragraph with this phrase, first of all. Now it means that there are yet to so many second and third and the fourths of all the paragraphs that he is going to explain further. Rivini is a small and cozy place. Now small as well as cozy, and this is what probably earned my love in the first place. So the thing that was small and cozy, that grabbed his attention and that earned his love. This and the people who worked and still work there, of course, unlike the bigger. Now the place as well as the people who work there, both of them he was in love with. Unlike the bigger restaurants, dinners and chain buffets are my parents also took me to. Rivini was my family-owned business run by Rivini was a family-owned business run by a middle-aged couple, Janet and Derek. When I think about them now, I still remember their warm smiles and sincere care for everyone around them. Now see the description of those two people, Janet and Derek, their warm smiles and their sincere care for everyone. Mrs. Jan, as I would call her, loved orange shades, now both in her outfits and in the restaurant's interior decor. So see the description of the person, how he is describing that person, Mrs. Jan. Warm orange and yellow pomegranate furniture, sunny colored napkins and curtains. Now this is the description of the place. Country style hard wooden tables and stools at the bar. Everything was solid and comfortable about the place. Now see the description of the place, how beautifully the writer describes each and every minute detail of the place, but he does not, lose the point of that he is talking about his favorite restaurant. Mrs. Jan would always have something orange in her outfit to match the place, as I then thought. So Mrs. Jan, see the description of the people and then the association of the people with the place, and then how he remembers them, how he remembers all the minute details about the people which he have met in his childhood. Be it a bright orange ribbon in her hair, or a peachy neat cotton dress, or creamy red nail polish, this woman always belonged to the place like nobody else, and I doubt it was only the external resemblance. So this is how he is somewhat doubtful about Mrs. Jan, but yet he is describing her behavior towards, or her association with the environment, or her association with the place in such a smart way that makes her look different or sound different from the others. Now let's go into the details of the second paragraph, where the again he talks about something and some people related to that place. Her husband, whose husband? Now this paragraph is moving in connection to the previous paragraph, so that's why he has used the pronoun. And now this way of using the pronoun in the beginning of the next paragraph while you are describing something brings a special connection or a logical progression from one paragraph to the other easily. Her husband, Mr. Derek, was older with graying hair and a little mustache, which made him look like little strict to me at that time. But the moment he started talking, his deep, soft and half laughing voice with that particular tender frog in the throat vibes, he would make me listen to his every word with my mouth open. Now see the description of Mr. Derek, how smartly the writer is presenting Mr. Derek in front of us, that he looked strict, but once he started talking, everyone would start laughing. The man was like a magician to me. Everything there was magical, fascinating, and even the man also looked mysterious and a magician to him. Mysterious and a little scary even, yet so fascinating and magnetic. So everything has got that magnetic quality that is attaching the reader, as well as the way the writer is writing, we start getting into the situation as if we are directly meeting people, and as if we are looking at the place ourselves. And of course, there was his daughter, the first love of mine, then a 5-year-old. She was a blonde pony-tailed girl of 7 or 8 with cute bangs, very lively and active. She would be running around the place, attracting the attention of the visitors with her echoing laughter that made you laugh in return, or at least smile back at the little sunny creature running around the place. See the beautiful adjectives, how the writer has used them in his essay, and how he has tried to describe the person Derek and then his daughter, who was the writer's first love, so beautifully, and that make us love this girl too, and that person also looks like a magician to me at least. Now that was a very short paragraph of the two supporting details that he had been providing. Now let's quickly read the conclusion. When I visited Rivani after all these years. Now the conclusion again talks about, that is related to your introduction, where he told that he went to his hometown for a Thanksgiving after so long. Now after these years, the memories flashed back through my mind in a heartbeat, and suddenly I felt like a child again. Now see the association of the person with the place, that every single description of that place appealed to him so much that he thought that he was a kid again, because everything looked like the same as he returned there. The place was still a sunny planet of orange and light, very bright yet comfortably relaxing with fresh energy. Now see the colors. Now I know that the place looked like orange. That was a small planet. Maybe that was a round place with wooden floor and huge windows where light was coming from every angle. That was bright and lively, and it provides you with a spark of fresh energy. I instantly felt like home, and a big bouquet of freshly cut white daisies neatly tied with an orange ribbon made me think of Mrs. Jan. So this is how he's explaining he has got that association of orange ribbon with Mrs. Jan. The food tasted the same, crispy and puffy. Homemade cornbread was my favorite part of the meal then, and it tasted like it did in my childhood to me now. My parents still eat at the Rivani from time to time, still order their favorite specials and enjoy the evening with Mrs. Jan and Mr. Derek, remembering the good old times. So this is how the writer ends up his essay here, concluding that place is still special to him as well as his parents, because the parents love him as well as the place that he loved too. So this is how he has explained, and try to reread that again when you get time. You will get to know that how beautifully and how smartly the writer has used these adjectives, the vivid and the bright images throughout the essay to make that very simple restaurant, a very small place, look different from the others. So this is your description towards things that counts, and this is the way you describe things that count towards you are writing anything about anything, any place or any object. Now I hope that you are going to write your assignments in such a way that you are going to provide the extraordinary details of everything that is there, and you want to present that on the piece of paper. So that was that brings to end to our lecture. In today's lecture we have talked about that how to write a descriptive essay. We have thoroughly discussed that what is a descriptive essay. So a descriptive essay usually tries to describe something from the personal point of view of the author. There are three major areas in which you can write descriptive essay. The first one is people, any personality that you want to talk about, a person. Second thing that you can write about is a place, and the third thing that you can write about is a thing. So we have also discussed some of the steps for writing a descriptive essay, in which we have seen that how you can, after selecting your topic, write down your introduction, then write down your main body parts, and then write down your closing sentence or your conclusion for the whole essay. Then we have also seen some of the topics for descriptive essay, out of which you are supposed to pick up one and submit your assignment on. Then key points to consider. A few things that we have read and you are supposed to keep in mind while writing the descriptive essay. Then there are some do's and then there are some don'ts that you are supposed to do and you are not supposed to do. Everything you do or everything you don't do lead you to write a very good descriptive essay. Don't put in the common mistakes that everyone does, because you are here to make yourself look special and sound special from other people. So this is the only possible way that how you can enhance your writing skills, and how you can use your imagination and what is within you for providing the best possible details of a descriptive essay. Then we have also seen one example of the my favorite restaurant, in which the writer so beautifully tells about his favorite place, that was Rivini, that small orange planet where that was fascinating, magical and magnetic to him in the childhood, and still that place was and sounded look different, and that place attracted him once he grew up. Now the way the writer has described his favorite restaurant, I want you to describe your topics out of the list that I've given you, and describe that in a very different way, using all your imagination, bright colors, put the strong strokes, bold strokes, and bold your essay should be bold enough to be presented on a hard canvas. So I wish you good luck for your essay writing assignment. Till the next lecture, I wish you a very good luck for your assignment number 1. I hope you are going to put your steps down and roll up your sleeves, pick up your pen and your writing pad, and you are going to start writing about your essay. Start writing. I am say to you goodbye. I will see you in the next lecture with your assignment number 1, and we will meet again inshallah. In the next lecture we will again discuss another essay type in detail along with the example. I hope today's lecture was fun for you and I enjoyed it too. Hope to see you in the next class. Till then, take very good care of yourself and take your sip of your coffee that is getting cold, and Allah Hafiz.